It is the RIOT, and welcome to the podcast.
Thursday of our vacation podcast week, so some more Worst of Riots. We'll be back in on Monday, back from our vacation.
So by now, this is the point in vacation where I'm starting to feel sad.
Oh, because it's
starting to wind down.
Yeah, you're getting towards the end.
Yeah, and you're starting to think about how you don't want to go back, and I don't want to do this anymore.
You feel like you just wasted Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, and you didn't appreciate
really soak it in. Like, I didn't appreciate it, so I got to fit as much in today as I can.
And now it's too late because you're almost to Friday.
You're terrified because it's all wrapping up.
I feel like that sometimes, though, just any week in general, because you're like,
sure.
oh, no, now, you're, especially when you get to Sunday, and you're like,
Sunday morning is the Thursday of the weekend.
It is, and you're like, I should have enjoyed Friday and Saturday more.
Actually, no. Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m., that's the Thursday of the weekend.
That's it.
Oh, or I guess Thursday of vacation. So in today's podcast, we talk about if you run the microwave, RadioU shuts off. Do you remember that?
Is that when the microwave wasn't doing well and it needed replaced?
It was doing crazy things. It was throwing circuit breakers and all kinds of stuff.
Could have taken us off air.
Yeah, peeing on the potatoes. Nikki is eventually going to get tased. Grammar is seen as passive aggression. Canadian woman is stuck in a porta-potty.
Aww.
Obadiah says Nikki is addicted to DoorDash. That feels real.
It's over. I haven't used it since that one bad McDonald's order, so I haven't used it again.
You finally shook loose?
I went all in during the beginning of quarantine, and then I just had to stop. I quit cold.
I don't know. I don't remember what this is about. Stealing vacuums in our vacuum stealing movie.
What did we do with that? I'm sure it's amazing, but I just don't know it.
I don't know. So, you know what? There's more. You'll get
there. Let it be a surprise.
Yeah. You guys enjoy the podcast. And, hey, one more day of Worst of the Riot, and we'll be back.
Have a great day.
Bye.
The Riot. They're kind of a big deal.
Hey, can we do that again? Maybe a little more energy?
No. RadioU.
So Sony is finally doing it. They're doing the work of the Lord.
What are they doing?
I'll tell you what they're doing. They're working on the Rayon Pocket, or it could be Rion, R-E-O-N, the Rion, Rayon.
Either one works.
So they're working on this thing. It is a pocket air conditioner.
Woo!
It's wearable. So the only thing about it that's a little bit of a bummer is that as of right now, it is only good for about 2 hours of operation.
Oh, that should still be plenty.
But what they're doing is, they're crowdfunding it in Japan. So it's not exactly available here, though I suppose if you did a little digging, maybe, and you use Google Translate, and you could find someone to handle your international funds.
Then you could totally order one.
So the idea is now, again, as of right now, it will fit into a specialized shirt.
So it doesn't look like you could just use any shirt that you have.
I don't think so, though. You might be able to rig something up. But imagine a window air conditioner, but the size of a phone, maybe a little thicker than that, and it's at the base of your neck in your shirt. And so it's sucking in the hot air, blowing out cold air, venting the other hot air.
They say it uses an effect where heat is absorbed or emitted when you pass an electrical current across a junction. So it either lowers your temperature, or raises it without bulk or noise.
So it's actually able to, yes, cool in the summer and heat in the winter.
So if you're wearing like a stuffy outfit, which a lot of times in Japan, if you're a salary man, you're wearing a suit, a pretty big suit.
So this would help keep you cool.
It would keep you cool without people realizing it.
Dude, what do you think? Does it make sense to air condition our clothes, or should we just wear more loose-fitting, cooler clothes?
No, well, at least in Japan, again, you're not allowed to if you're going to work.
Maybe society is the problem.
Maybe that needs fixed.
Hey, guys, we suddenly realized it's freaking hot,
and
so we're going to have Hawaiian shirt day.
Everybody's different. Not everybody gets as hot or gets as cold, so you're fixing your
I see what
current.
You did there.
No, you're fixing your area, your problem. So you do have to control it through a mobile app, and they hope in the future to have a future update will have an automatic mode for it.
Okay, so you have to manually set it Bluetooth as of right now. The only thing is, though, they're like, hey, everybody, keep your shirt at a cool 73 degrees.
Lower. You need to go way lower.
I'm going to need to do a little better than that. Though 73 is not bad.
Did you say it's supposed to ship in March of 2020?
So, got a little while.
Only in Japan. And I don't know, are they trying to get it there in time for the Tokyo 2020 for the Olympics?
The idea is that when you're going to the Olympics and you're so hot.
Did you say the price?
You know what? I didn't. Did you?
$117, which is actually kind of low. I thought it'd be more than that.
That's not that bad.
You get the shirt too?
I don't know the answer to that. And the other, let's see. No, it looks like a pretty specialized kind of shirt. So, I mean, it's not going to be like
a shirt and a little portable air conditioning unit.
Hey, dude.
It's a great price.
Oh, man. How long does it take to charge it? Because,
well, it runs for full 24 hours.
Right. The Bluetooth connection's hot for 24 hours, but it can do 2 hours of continuous use.
2 hours of charging.
And then it has to charge 2 more hours?
I think so.
What's worse than the worst of the Riot? The worst of the Riot podcast. Yeah. You did this to yourself. Podcast. Riot. RadioU.
Okay, we were going to talk about food, but first, drinks. He says to me, I felt like I was getting ready for a stand-up routine.
I'm just trying out new material on you.
She was like, when you pour so much creamer in your coffee that it's still cold,
no, that
you
it's
might
now
be
cold.
A beatnik.
No,
I don't know.
It's because, the coffee's all hot, but I put so much creamer in that it's not hot anymore.
Is it moderate?
No, it's drinkable.
Cold?
It's very drinkable.
It's drinkable. Okay.
Absolutely drinkable.
Then mission accomplished.
I guess. I feel bad. When you know, like, the nutritional value of the creamer that you put in, it's a mistake.
Okay. You know what? I'll tell you what the mistake is, Nikki. The mistake is caring. Okay, that's what
is looking in the first place.
Okay, that's where I've got to help you out. We're standing in the kitchen, and first off, I feel like you would have made your coffee very differently if I hadn't been standing there.
But maybe that was good.
I felt like because I was standing there, and that I was just going to get a straight up black cup of coffee, there was part of you that was afraid I was going to judge you. I'm not going to judge you.
I would say 70-30, maybe 60-40.
When you're really looking for like a 40-60?
Yes, creamer ratio to coffee.
So way more creamer than coffee.
It's close to what I would probably get if no one was around.
One, Nikki, you just need to be you in the break room, okay?
And it's my spot that I can be safe to just have whatever coffee drink I want.
It's a safe space, and you know that, yes, I'm going to criticize whatever you do. So you might as well be happy
while you're criticizing me.
Because whatever you do is going to be wrong. Mm-hmm. So just be happy and be wrong, since you're going to be wrong anyway.
It's really good, but it's also now very cold. So it's kind of lost that part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well.
Well, you know what? It's fine. It's fine. So you're okay? You're enjoying it?
Yeah, it's good.
I'm just proud of you. You know what? I'm proud of you for drinking coffee.
I'm so tired.
You are missing the real important thing.
I know it is.
That
I used to just have a little tiny sip of his, just to take the edge off. Just a little tiny. More. Sometimes I'd have tea just to really, amp it up in the morning. But you've been making more coffee, and when we have creamer, I will have some of it.
Yeah, you will.
But this counts as a serving and a half.
This morning, Nikki, you had coffee.
I did.
You didn't have a sip. You didn't have just like a little.
I would always have such a small amount
of coffee
to where I could be like, no, I don't have any coffee in the morning because there's just a tiny amount. And no, this is absolutely having coffee this morning.
You're all the way in.
I am.
All the way in.
All right, well, just plan on making more coffee each morning until don't put me down as a coffee drinker yet. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that. I'm just having a little bit.
Okay.
Here and there.
It's where it starts.
Of your coffee.
And
so it counts for your cup count each day.
Here's what I love. You know what? The Riot does stuff together, everybody. And finally, Nikki's in.
I'm doing that. Oh, well.
A Rotten Tomatoes score so high, they refuse to make it public. The Riot on RadioU.
Okay, listen.
Yes.
All right, when I was a kid, I don't know if anybody else had this thing, but at my one friend's house, no one could flush the toilet when you were taking a shower.
What would happen? Or the water would change?
The water would get super cold. I don't understand what the problem is. Like, the toilet only flushed hot water. That's bad plumbing. You got to get that fixed. So I remember very plainly, us sitting there. We couldn't have been very old at all. I don't know how old, but like we're sitting there, and my friend's dad is like, "I'm gonna take a shower. Do not
flush the toilet. Does that mean the door's open though?
So. Well, I mean, it wasn't in the same. It was the downstairs bathroom.
I thought you meant it was in the same bathroom. If you flush the toilet in the same bathroom,
we're on the first floor, and there's a half bath down there for emergencies, of course. And then upstairs there was the bathroom and the shower in the bathroom.
Boy, that really is some weird plumbing.
It is. So I just remember. My friend, as soon as his dad got in the shower, he immediately went in the bathroom and flushed the toilet.
Of course.
And I still remember the sound of his dad screaming, "Zachary!" I mean, just screaming from the shower. And it was just one of those moments where you're like, man, you just knew all of this was going to happen. Like, you knew this was going to happen. And then he's just like, what? I forgot. It's like, you didn't forget. We all know what you did. Now, that being said, I just had a thought. Right now, in the RadioU break room, the microwave's not working.
It works. I found that you...
No.
Oh, you tried to do another?
Basically, what's happening is you can push all the buttons and the numbers you want, but as soon as you turn it on, it throws the breaker.
And then it turns off.
So I'm in the... This is what Nikki and I are doing while music is playing. Nikki's trying to use
want to know we pull back the curtain. I want breakfast. That's what I want.
Nikki's trying to use the microwave, and every time she starts it, I'm standing in our network operations center, and you can hear like the sound of a switch throwing. And so I'm throwing the breaker. Nikki's turning it on. The breaker's going click, click, click.
Could you hear me yell?
Yeah.
Okay. Because
I walked around the corner from the breaker box and I heard click and I was like, that was for sure the breaker.
Not it. I thought it was only if I was hitting the 30-second, like you start the timer that way.
That's because it instantly turns on.
Sure.
So I went ahead and tried it. Boom, it's dead again. But then I just had a thought. Okay. You know how if you flush the toilet, the hot water goes away?
Yeah.
What if when you start the microwave, we go off the air? We're having trouble with some of our transmitters. So what if
the microwave broke all that?
Every time someone's run the microwave, we're off the air, but nobody knows it. So
I was going to say maybe you should go into the bathroom and flush the toilet while I hit the microwave,
and see if it puts us back on the air.
And then maybe it will actually put us back on, and I can have my breakfast.
Could be. It could be. So but I just love the idea of us having a sign that's like, don't use the microwave. Right? We're on the air.
Because we want to stay on the air. Listen, when you're listener supported, you take one problem at a time.
You do the best you can.
The best you can with what you're having with the microwave.
Michael and or Chris takes the place of my friend's dad. He's just like, we're going to be upstairs working on the transmitter. Nobody use the microwave. And he immediately walks in and uses the microwave.
Here's where we had a learning moment as well because, I want to make my breakfast and I've been trying to. And I was in the middle of texting Chris to fix the microwave. Then I noticed we were having problems with some of our RadioU stations. And I thought, no, it's more important to get RadioU back on the air than it is to tell Chris that I can't make my breakfast.
Get in here.
Okay,
fix the microwave.
So I think the toaster still works. So I'm going to make a bagel. And but we have no butter left.
No, the butter's all gone, but a nice toasty bagel.
I don't have anything to put on it. Do we have any olive oil?
There's peanut butter.
I don't like peanut butter as much. It's okay. I know you do, and it's not anything against you. I just don't.
It's fine.
I don't like it as much on a bagel. Do you have any Oreos left?
No, those are gone. Don't use the microwave, and please don't flush the toilet. Okay, we're trying to... We're trying to fix some stuff.
Where we can. We're at that point before our next fall fundraiser.
We're cutting back.
We're cutting back. So no breakfasts for us. And don't flush unless it's an emergency.
If it's yellow, let it mellow.
We know what the emergencies are.
The worst of the worst. Are you ready? The Riot Podcast. RadioU.
Can I just tell you that right now, even though it doesn't feel like it, we live in the future. If you lived in 1899
you'd be amazed.
You'd be like, man, this is the future. But here's the thing that sucks is like looking at these pictures, they're drawings of what people, or were they at the World's Fair or whatever they were, but like of what people thought the future would be like in 1899, man, it sucks here. Like compared to what they thought it was going to be like.
Because they thought we'd be in flying cars by now, or what else is there?
Okay, how about this? A whale-powered submarine.
A whale-powered?
Okay, you know how you had yourself like a cart or whatever, and it was being pulled by horses? How about an underwater cart being pulled by a whale?
That's what they dreamt back then.
They were like, that's going to be so freaking cool. How about this? Here's a bunch of people in like diving suits playing, it's not cricket. What's that? Croquet.
Croquet.
But underwater. That's cool. And here's a bunch of guys, they've got flying wings, and they're going duck hunting wearing their wings. So they're flying up to meet the ducks.
So it shows you how...
Flying cars, here we go.
No, but everything's attached to something we still wouldn't even do now. We're not going duck hunting, and
Underwater
we don't play
fish
croquet.
races.
We don't do fish underwater stuff.
And here's a guy with what seems to be a helicopter. So we have those. But not for everybody. Like, I don't have a helicopter.
We don't have a personal one.
So, like, that's not as cool. Here's a guy rescuing his girlfriend from an octopus. It looks like these people just read 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, actually.
Was that right around?
It's probably true. And since I just got done reading it, I can recognize...
You can notice the trend.
Where their influences are and stuff. Yeah, sure. Here are police officers driving what appears to be a motorcycle, kind of. So we got that.
Yeah.
That's really exciting.
So Obie's looking at World Fair stuff from the 1800s to see what they thought our world would be like now.
You know what that means? Like all the movies that we're watching, they're like, dude, the future's going to be freaking cool. No, it's not. It's going to suck. It's going to be like now, except they'll be like, yeah, but your phone shrinks, and then when you get it out of your pocket, it's super big.
I guess I just assume we'll just have less privacy, but we all recognize that anyways.
Yeah, I mean,
and things on the other side will be more convenient because we've traded that in for it.
Well, it'll be interesting to... Here's the thing that I would like to know. You know, one of the big limiting factors is us. Like the human body, like we can only go so fast. We can only think so fast, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So what's the thing? Because so far, the only thing in my life that I feel like I've seen is we figured out more ways to carry a TV around. That's like the best we've done. We've been like, yeah, well, I can put a TV in my pocket. But if I want to lay there, I can have something that's like the TV in my pocket that's a little bit bigger that I can watch while I'm watching my even bigger TV.
No, I still don't want to drive, but I don't think we're there yet with self-driving stuff. I want that to kind of advance, and I would still just like to not have to do that. So that'd be great.
I don't care about driving.
Outside of that, everything else is pretty good.
I mean, I'm buying video games so I can drive when I'm not driving, so I'm fine with driving.
You're perfectly fine.
Fake driving while real driving, that's fine, whatever. But I'm just telling you, everything I look at that's like, this is the future, and I'm like, man, these guys have great ideas. Where's my moon colony? Stuff like that. Instead, I got a phone.
Wow, not only are you already awake, but you're listening to The Riot? Your day is off to a pretty rough start. The Riot on Radio U.
I love potatoes in just about every form that they take.
But mostly fries, the best form, do you think?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like we're having mashed potatoes all the time.
Well, I'd eat a good mashed potato.
But
Don't you like mashed potatoes?
I do, but normally we just get it in like fry form.
That's because people they won't take the time to mash a potato.
That seems like only holidays.
Yeah, it's true. That's why they're so good. And then, when you're going to KFC, that's just like rehydrated paper towels.
Well, I feel like you're right. It's too much time to make a mashed potato, but fries is how we normally get our potatoes.
I'll eat a baked potato. I like to put some honey mustard on it.
How about this? Waffle fry.
Come on.
Nice, big waffle fry.
We go to the fair tomorrow. We're getting a tub of fries.
You want to?
Oh, we should.
But those are always the shoestring ones. I want a waffle fry.
Okay, let's see if we can find some waffle fries.
Is there a bucket of waffle fries?
You know what, Nikki? I'm going to make that happen.
Okay, good.
I just lied. I can't make anything happen.
You can't?
But if I
do
could,
we still have the bucket from last year, or do we throw it away?
I think I think a former employee grabbed it and ran out.
Why don't we just bring the bucket like when you go to the movie theater? We'll find a bucket, go to the waffle fry thing, ask them to fill it up.
I do have some souvenir movie theater buckets. Now back to these potatoes. There is a woman who has now been caught. Last night, like when I started,
she turned herself in.
When I saw this story yesterday, it was hot, and then last night she turned herself in.
She didn't get they didn't find her. She knew she had to turn herself in.
We're talking about Grace Brown. Flush it down.
Number one, though, she was the one who, at a Walmart, right?
Yes.
Someone noticed that someone had peed next to and near the potatoes. And it was her. And some of it was on it.
I was told on the potatoes.
Well, they noticed on the floor that there was pee.
Were the potatoes shiny? Or the potatoes?
I don't know.
The thing that I was the most afraid of.
I don't know what you would even do with this.
The thing that I was the most afraid of is that the article is like, Walmart has released video footage of woman urinating on potatoes. And I was like, you know what? I'm game. What do you got? Are we just going to see a woman standing on a table? Like, what are we? And it was just her walking out.
Yes, they just they wanted to find who she was. They had pretty good video of her. You should be able to tell if you knew her.
Yeah.
And that's why they released it.
And so they got her. She is facing charges of lewdness, disorderly conduct, and this may shock you, public drunkenness.
If you've never seen someone go to the bathroom in public, man, it changes you. I have seen it twice, a 1 and a 2, and it changes how you feel about human beings. It's wrong.
Please go back to it changes you.
It does. You lose this innocence that you had before, and it's gone.
That's my favorite thing. It just that idea of like, man, it just changes you.
Well, for some, I hear this like, I can't believe someone would pee in the store like that. And you're like, well, when we've seen it, we've seen it.
Yeah, I just want you to know that I feel like on the one hand, human beings are ascendant. They are different from animals. And yet I have seen the animal behavior. We've read articles. We've seen things with our own eyes. You know what? I almost feel like everyone should have the opportunity to live a week, maybe a month in a freshman guy's dorm. And just to be clear, after that, you won't be surprised by anything.
Yeah, because didn't your friend like number 2 in the elevator just for fun of it?
Yeah.
So there's things that happen.
Like the one
Suddenly, peeing on the potatoes at Walmart isn't too shocking.
The one guy was gone for the weekend, so they took a coffee cup, peed in it, and put all of his pins in it, and then opened his window and put it on the thing.
On the windowsill?
Yeah, so his pins had all frozen in urine, in a cup of urine.
This is it. This is it. See? Changes you.
I remember going up to that floor. It was like the second north or something. And like they had left his window open all weekend. It was the dead middle of January. It's like 20 below outside. And you turn the corner to go up the stairs and you could feel this cold air.
Like, what's that about? Now you know.
It was coming from his room.
So
glad it wasn't me.
So for the lady, she has been caught because she turned herself in, and she's awaiting charges.
Grace
or whatever.
Brown.
Mm-hmm. And of course, her last name would be that, but
so good. I'm sorry. I got to get some more coffee in. You know what? I'm glad we had this chat.
The worst podcast with the best listeners. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
I had some details, some things to help Nikki with her social media empire she's building, and even some fair details. But something has occurred in the last few minutes that I'm going to have to put those on hold so that we can address what is obviously Nikki's future.
It's not going to be me.
That's where
I would never talk to a police officer that way.
This is where you're headed, Nikki.
Now, I know I have a little ODD, which is an oppositional defiance disorder, but who doesn't have a healthy amount of that? I do not have that with cops. I would get very scared. I'd be like, yes, officer, and I would do what they say.
We have watched video of, is that in Texas?
No, Oklahoma.
Okay, there's a woman that
65-year-old woman.
65-year-old woman that gets pulled over for a busted taillight.
Well, her back of her truck has been smashed in, and I guess the officer said it's been 6 months, and because she doesn't have it's one of them's busted out, she should have fixed it already, so she gets an $80 ticket.
Right. She refuses to sign it, and he's like, well, come on, like you're going to have to get out of the car. You're like, whatever.
No, I think she said
something.
There was even the word, she used the word stupid a lot to the officer, which you're not really supposed to. Like, hey, stupid, I'm not going to, or things like that.
So then she rolls up her window and locks her door, and then rolls down the window and screams, give it to me, I'll sign it.
No, she says, fine, give me the thing, and so she'll agree to do it.
Yeah, and he's like, no, we're past that. So she just takes He goes after her, pulls her out of the car.
4 minutes, he has to chase her.
Yeah, she ends up kicking him a bunch, and then he tases her, and she's screaming at him. And eventually...
She's still not following instructions, even when being tased.
Yeah. And so I watched that whole thing and I was like, this is it.
It's not me.
This is where Nikki's headed. This is where she's headed.
I like at the end because he sits her up and he's like, are you hurt? And she's like, everywhere.
Hurting everywhere.
Well, of course you are. You haven't been following the rules there.
Yeah. So watching it, you're like, did he need to tase her? No. Could she? Like, there were so many times at which it was like, this was all preventable, but all this lady needed to do, like, literally was just like, if she would have sat still.
And not run from the police officer. I think that's the biggest thing.
It was a weird one.
Well, at first when you see the articles are trying to make it off like, how could these cops taser this 65-year-old woman? And then when you watch it, you're like, well, she is. She's not following.
She's a real pill.
Yeah, she's a real problem lady. He gives her lots of opportunities before she takes off.
I don't know. I just feel like it feels like a cautionary video that, Nikki, I'm glad you've seen.
I've seen it.
I'm glad you've seen it because, again, I feel like this could be your future.
Not going to do that.
I know you don't think you will.
I hope not. I don't want to turn into that lady.
I know that.
I always feel bad when you see older people like grandmas acting up and being like this because that's like someone's daughter or son's going to have to go get her and bail her out and have to hear and watch the video of what she's done.
Jason says this would only happen to Nikki if the officer called her little lady.
No, I've been called little lady a lot. I'm in radio. That's a favorite of guys in radio.
Must be old guys, though.
It is. Yeah, older guys in radio. Oh, they love the little lady. And now that I hear it, I do hate that term.
Yeah.
But if an officer said it, I'd be like, yes, sir, I am a little lady. Thank you so much.
You getting tased?
Not getting tased because I'm following the rules.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not acting like this lady did.
You know what, Nikki? I'll come pick you up.
Oh, will you if I get in trouble?
Yeah. Eric's like, I ain't going down there again.
Not again.
They're like, it's all right, Eric. I'll go this time.
I will not grow up and be that way.
Giving every novelty food the publicity it so blatantly desires. It's The Riot on Radio U.
It's weird. I'm drinking coffee right now.
No, and your glass is fogged up.
Yeah, because
your one side did.
It's because I'm blowing on the coffee.
Okay.
Trying to cool it off a little bit.
I just looked up at you. I was like, oh no. Good thing we don't really need to see to do this job. It's okay. It'll unfog in a moment. You're fine.
You know what else you technically don't need for this job, but it sure does help, is the microwave. So
it's still out here at Radio U. Yesterday, we did some troubleshooting before we went to Chris to see if we could fix it. But whenever you would touch any button, the circuit... how do you say that? The circuit breaks or whatever?
Yeah.
So when you go back to the big fuse box thing and you go to trip it or to flip it, it turns back on, but then you go right back to the microwave. You hit another button and it'll die again.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the fuse needs changed or what.
No. The microwave itself is dead.
I thought, let's not call it quite yet. There isn't anything we can do?
Well, I talked to our chief technical officer yesterday.
Did you look at it yesterday?
Yeah, he said it was dead.
So we need a new one?
Yeah.
And it's one of those ones that fits in a...
It's a range mic. Isn't that what it's called? A range microwave?
Yeah, it's above your stove in our break room, so it fits in a spot.
Yeah, it can either go above the stove, or I've also seen where you can take them and set them beside the massage chair in front of the 80-inch TV.
We don't have that.
We have an amazing break room.
We do not have that.
You wouldn't believe it.
We have candy. That's about it.
I was talking to Bill. He's our short order chef that works in there.
We don't have that either.
And
we are listener supported. We do not have that.
He was telling me that the massage tech who had the day off.
Yes, well, I know that.
She was the last one to use it.
Use it, yeah.
And I was just like, oh my gosh, well, did you talk to Sarah? And some people are like, who's Sarah? And I was like, Sarah is the one that actually gives out the shoes at the bowling alley.
No, that we have downstairs.
Yeah, in the staff lounge.
We don't have any of that. I'm
sorry, that's just the management staff lounge.
When I hit 30 seconds to add 30 seconds to my breakfast to start it, that's when it blew. So I was afraid I might be the last one who used it.
Yeah. So, it was definitely Sarah. Yeah.
Someone else? Is he going to order a new one or what? Because I don't know how else to make breakfast in there. We're really limited.
Well, I can tell you, I heard Michael I was in the bathroom and I heard this loud slamming, and I'm pretty sure that it was him slamming the microwave door when he realized that there's not going to be no breakfast for the man.
Michael has all these like microwavable breakfast bowls that always smell so good,
Yeah,
but
it does.
you can't do. I mean, you can't put it in the oven. So what are you supposed to do?
You just suffer. My suggestion to him was just.
Well, we went out yesterday.
Just go get something.
We went out and got food after we realized the microwave was gone, and we went into a particular establishment to get breakfast, and that was a mess.
So
Nikki, I don't want to do that again. We have to bring food that works.
You just gotta. I'll tell you what. Why don't we take the whole day and have a meeting, and let's just talk about microwaves.
We can do that.
Why don't we do that?
You don't treat something nice until it's gone. And I want us to learn from this that we should be thankful and mindful of everything that's in there before it's gone.
Well, I've got an idea.
What?
Okay. Now, I was scheduled to get that massage treatment today, but let's blow that off.
Yeah.
And I'll let Sarah know that we're coming.
What's your therapy with
it? We will have a staff bowling tournament. And when the person who wins the bowling tournament, they'll be the one that gets to pick the new microwave.
And then we can get it?
Yeah.
As long as it's installed tomorrow. We've got that big party planned.
That's no big deal. Well, Bill's cooking for most of that. And plus, we've got those outside caterers coming in.
If you're listening at all.
Steaks? Who is that
If
that's
you're
doing that?
listening at all and you're like, I knew it. I knew they had all that. We do not. We have a broken microwave.
We have a broken microwave, but you know what? Why don't you just sign one of the vehicles out of the station fleet, and you can go.
Stop it! They're not going to know you're teasing.
Go pick it up.
We're very smart and reasonable with the money.
Take the helicopter.
Well, that would be a good call.
Everything you love about the Riot, plus a handy-dandy fast-forward option. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Okay, Nikki, are you ready to discuss internet language?
Yeah, we can do that.
And texting in general.
Sure.
There's a woman who, let's see, her name is, where'd her name go? Her name is Gretchen is her first name. It's her last name, McAuliffe. Okay. She's from Quebec, and she's written a book that is about how we use language on the internet, right? And she says that if people use a period at the end of a sentence in texting, so like, for example, you would say like, I'm going to be late.
Yeah.
That's the example she gives.
And you use a period?
And you put a period at the end of that. People see that as aggressive.
Really?
Or even or passive aggressive.
We use periods in our sentences?
The use of a period in texting is something that people find to be aggressive.
I don't think I do. I do not. I do not use that.
Let's see.
I don't think you do either. But it's worth checking. No, you do not. At least as far as I see.
Let's see.
Oh, no, wait, sometimes you do. Sometimes you do. Yeah, you do on a couple.
Whatever you can find. Running late. Long-term late. Period.
So sometimes you actually do. You do use a period a lot.
Yeah.
You do? Oh, wow.
You know what? Here's the thing.
You're being aggressive.
I've been told. Well, this is interesting because not only is this my aggressiveness, but it's also my white supremacy. That was something I found out. That the use of proper grammar is
too much, right?
Is tied to white supremacy.
Privileged.
Like yes, and white privilege, trying to hold people down who don't use grammar.
Someone who didn't know what they were talking about gave him that as an answer one day. It was quite something.
It was interesting. Like I've thought about it a lot since then. You know what it came down to when I was in 10th grade. It was in 9th grade. I got a B in English, and headed into 10th grade, I had this moment of just complete whatever because I was like, wait a minute. Why can't I get an A in English? Why is English hard? And then I realized English wasn't hard. I was actually lazy. I just hadn't been willing. Everything else was really easy, but English was something it didn't just click for me. So I was like, if I just grabbed this book and I began to memorize the things in this book, then when a question came up, I would just have to remember the thing that I memorized and I could answer the question. And after that, I became, I wouldn't say passionate about grammar, but I like grammar because I conquered it.
And now it makes its way into his text messaging.
And now I am out there using grammar in text messages,
aggressive.
and people are taking it as aggression.
So Jared texted, he said, that's dumb. I see that as being grammatically correct. So just rolled your eyes so hard, I think it's on my brain.
I'm just letting you know that you are probably using grammar to keep people down.
Julia in Pittsburgh says, proper punctuation is not aggressive. It's a sign of proper education.
But you know what? That actually might just be Julia and Jared and maybe even me showing your age. You know, if you were 8 and you had just started texting, you wouldn't use all that fancy grammar.
You wouldn't use all that.
And you would need all that.
So take a look through your text messages. Does anybody do you use the punctuation? Do you not?
If you look, actually, I'm just going through you know what else you'll find in mine? You'll find commas, sometimes semicolons.
Yeah, you do.
You'll find.
Zach said it's a sign that Obi's intelligent and an upright citizen, which Zach does that mean I'm not, because I'm not using any punctuation in mine.
Yeah, look at that. Period, exclamation point.
You use a lot.
Well, no, but here's one, no period. So, like, I'm just a little aggressive.
Not the worst.
I'm not all the way aggressive.
Now we have another thing to worry about. Are we coming off as too aggressive or dumb in text messaging?
No, if you use a period, you're trying. That's exactly right. Which one do you want to be? Do you want to be dumb or aggressive?
Don't know.
There's absolutely no room for middle ground at all in this America.
You got to pick one side or the other.
You're listening to The Riot. Let's all work together today to live life with the patience of a Nikki dealing with an Obadiah.
Gotta hang in there and get through it.
You're listening to The Riot.
Go ahead, Nikki.
Yeah.
So we've gone from the pimple popper woman and Nikki's future in being a cyst assassin.
Doctor needs doctor stuff, okay?
Yeah, real big medical stuff, too.
But this is something, was it Katie who sent us on Facebook?
Yeah, she messaged us this on Facebook, and it is about a woman in Calgary. You know, our friends up north in Canada.
Her name's Cecilia.
They had a really big festival. And they had a really big...
It was an air show.
Oh, was it an air show?
Yeah, Wings Over Springbank Air Show, and it was on Saturday the 27th.
So last Saturday. This is great because think about that. The air show, they had a lot of wind. It's perfect. The air really did put on a show.
She was there with her boyfriend and her boyfriend's family who were visiting from Germany. And the air show, I think, ended up having to be canceled.
Yes, the wind was so strong. They were like, we can't fly in this.
But everybody started to leave, and she went to go use the porta potty before leaving, and that's when trouble happened.
That's when it happened.
So the wind hit the porta potty so much, a gust, that it pushed them forward.
So you know what that means? That means that your door side down.
It fell on the door side, so she was stuck and could not get out.
And so, you know what, should we maybe just read a little quote? I felt the wind moving a little bit as soon as I was trying to sit. The whole thing just went on my back and the door facing downwards, and I could feel all the water and everything falling on me.
And she said it was gross. So she couldn't get out. No one could hear her. She finally,
There were so many tipped porta potties.
Yeah, they couldn't locate her as to which one she was actually in. Then finally they did. Doctors had to be called just to look her over because not only was there
toilet paper in her hair.
There was bathroom stuff, but they said there was also needles as well from inside the toilets.
And she's covered in it.
Yeah, and she said she took about a 2-hour shower, and now I'm sure she's suing.
Well, they're trying to get a hold of the people to sue. No one will answer the phone.
They're hiding. They don't want to answer.
Like, they finally got a hold of, they called the airport where the air show was happening, and they're like, we hired that out. That's not us. Call these people.
Company.
So they called them, and they're like, yeah, our managers are all on vacation right now.
No, it's Canada. They're all out of the province.
They're all out of the province.
And that's in Calgary when that happened. If you look at the video, like, the wind is really something. It blew over tents, porta potties, bouncy castles. They were just flying all over the airport.
I've told you a couple of times, like, going through neighborhoods that are under construction where they'll have
the porta
potty for, like, construction workers, and I'll just see it whoop,
just over.
Just flew over.
They said nothing's anchored down. That's what they're concerned about. So the weight was just the chemicals and the bathroom stuff.
That's not the words she uses.
I don't need to use the other words. And they said that, these could just fall over. They need to maybe like with a tent, you put stakes in.
Yeah.
They need to do something else.
Well, that's just going to raise the price of bringing out a porta potty now.
I don't know. Okay. Real talk?
Yep.
If that ever happened and I was like, I'm not going to ask you to save me. I'm just going to die there. Just leave me be. I just can't come out. Okay?
You know what, Nikki?
I don't want to come out.
I'm going to get a pumice stone.
Ooh, just scrub
and
everywhere.
We're just going to exfoliate,
You just hear me screaming. You're like, it's okay, I'm coming. And you're bringing a hose.
We're just going to exfoliate. I'm going to, you know what? Get out of there. Hey, Nikki, I brought the fire department.
Yeah.
Stand over here.
Yeah, we got you
All
covered.
Right, we're going to get started.
Proper planning prevents poor performance. Clearly, the Riot didn't properly plan. This is the worst of the Riot on Radio U.
I have a friend that I'm concerned about. Here on the show, I feel like we continue to perpetuate and create this image that I'm the one that goes out and does crazy things and makes weird choices and all this stuff. But I'm getting to be downright pedestrian. Whereas Nikki, on the other hand,
is it me?
Is becoming eccentric.
Why?
Because you're door dashing all the time now.
So what's wrong with that?
I'm DoorDash shaming right now.
Are you?
DoorDash shaming.
I didn't have such a good thing yesterday with it. We were tired because we were at the fair all day.
I was so tired from eating all day at the fair.
I know it sounds
that when
stupid.
I went home to eat, I had to have somebody else make me food.
No, but
I couldn't possibly go get it.
It was the first time I ever had a problem because I sent it out at like 4:30.
How many times? Okay, in the month of July.
Maybe 4 times, not much.
Yeah, a week. Is that your average?
No,
4 times a week?
No, it's not.
Okay.
But I haven't had an issue before like this. And I've used Postmates and Uber Eats a couple of times. But DoorDash is the one I kind of like its interface more with.
Yeah.
So I went and I sent my order in.
You're so lazy.
I am not. But it was just a nice treat. You got to treat yourself.
Yourself.
Pretty much.
Is that what we're saying now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
you know what? If it feels good, do it.
Yeah, I know we say that, but you want to make sure. So I sent my dinner out at like 4:30, and it was supposed to come within 40 minutes.
Okay.
And then I finally had to call the restaurant at like an hour because it was like in limbo. There was no person coming to pick it up.
Hey, listen, I'm starting to run out of food here.
Guys, you understand? I've been at the fair all day. I'm hungry, and it's past the time I normally eat my dinner. So I called, and they couldn't find it, and then finally they did. It had been sitting there at that point for 40 minutes at the restaurant ready to be picked up, and he's like, yeah, do you want to still have us get someone to come get it? He goes, is it still good? Or, it's been there for a while.
Hey.
And he tells me, he goes, oh, it's safe, but, it's just not hot at this point.
Yeah.
So...
Hey. Listen here, Nicole's hungry. And if Nicole don't get her dinner, Nicole's going to have some real problems.
Stop.
Well, who's Nicole, sir? I'm Nicole.
It's me.
It's me.
So I canceled the order, but DoorDash was nice. They gave, obviously I get my money back, and then they gave me the price that we were spending in credits, so I could just order another meal again.
So did you?
No, I will another day.
Oh, so what did you do for dinner last night?
Well, then I just sent Eric to go out to get Wendy's. I made him DoorDash himself. He just went. So don't shake your head. Don't shake your head. It's fine. I didn't have any food. What?
I'll tell you what Nikki is.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Nikki's a delegator.
Yeah, that's a good thing. She's good.
She's a delegator. She's a CEO. She's a boss man.
I'm a corporate lady. Well, it's too late to DoorDash anything. It would have been even longer. So that was fine.
So it's fine.
Yeah.
Eric, I'm so tired from sitting all day. Could you go get... Well, that's not true. I did walk a few hundred yards to get some fried food and bring it back.
I did, but we were outside and the fresh air makes you very tired.
So tired.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Once you try one of the delivery services, then you realize, it really is easier just to have someone bring it to me, isn't it?
No, that's why I don't do it.
Don't open the door.
No, that's right. Because I know if I start having someone deliver my food, I'm screwed.
You will never go back.
I am screwed. I don't even I don't even let him deliver my pizza now.
You go pick it up?
That's what a cheapskate I am. I'm like, wait, you're telling me I'm going to have to tip you plus pay the delivery fee? I'll tip myself.
Just how it goes.
Yep.
So that was dinner yesterday.
One of us is growing into financial maturity, and one of us is squeezing stones looking for blood. But it's going great,
Everything's
guys.
fine. It's not a problem.
But you know what? It's a moral victory.
I was gonna DoorDash us some breakfast one morning.
We should do that.
I was gonna do that from Wendy's.
No, we can't.
Why? I have credits. I have lots of credits.
I'm telling you right now.
We can have Chick-fil-A breakfast.
If we open the DoorDash breakfast thing, we're screwed.
No, but I could do it at least so you could try it.
It's like working for the company store, man. Like, I'll be so far in debt just from the breakfast I need every morning.
You come in every day, you're like, do you have breakfast? No, I don't. What are we going to do about that?
Dash it!
So that's an option maybe for one day special down the road, maybe for your birthday.
Okay.
Where do you go when you need someone to listen to your problems and give you a big hug? Not here. Obviously, this is The Riot on RadioU.
Man, I've thought it many times. If I could put my wit, my humor, my personality into a much better looking body.
Man, that'd be a killer package.
Oh my gosh. Like, if I could, I mean, this inside.
You'd be an actor.
With a better outside. Oh, I mean, I would be in Hobbs and Shaw.
Yes, you would.
Because there'd be no stopping me, just no stopping me. But unfortunately, the things that are stopping me are my crooked arms, and that's just for starters.
Maybe it's not fair if you were the perfect package, it would just be too much.
Too much for other people.
Yeah.
So instead, I hide in this room and only send out my voice, which...
That's all we can handle.
Truth be told, that might not be my best quality.
Oh, don't.
But you know what?
It's all we've got.
But it's fine. And that's why, I can really identify with Cyrano de Bergerac. The old play.
The nose guy.
The nose guy got made into a movie back in the 90s called Roxanne, I think, where the idea is that this guy who's a brilliant genius and so amazing, except he's ugly. And so
and by ugly, it was was it just a large nose, or
it's supposed to be like enormous,
gotcha.
et cetera, whatever. Which is why I feel like I have a real connection with a middle-aged woman in China. All right.
Who do you feel like you associate the most with? It's this streamer lady. I think, she's 56 or something like that?
58.
Oh, 58?
She is 58. This woman in China she's this mystery streamer that the translation of her name would be Your Highness Quibelio.
So if you've never seen any of these, it's been much talked about throughout probably the past year or so.
Yeah.
But in China, imagine you watch someone who's streaming, and they'll stream for hours and hours and hours. Kind of like we have a lot of gamers who stream for hours each
Same
day.
deal.
But this is not a person just gaming. This person's eating with you. They're singing to you. They're talking to you. They're reading to you. But they literally just sit there and stream the whole day. Well, what became a topic of controversy for a lot of them is they use such enhancements with filters that they look nothing like what you actually think you're watching. And it's not like, I added an Instagram filter. It's not like that. We're talking like your body looks different. Your face really looks different. And then people find out that the person they're giving money to, because they pay to watch them during the day, is nothing like what you're actually seeing.
So the deal is with this woman in China is that no one had ever actually seen her face.
Yeah.
So she had done all of these things, and
the filters were very anime looking.
Yes. And that's a whole other thing. Like in Japan, there are really popular. This is China, but in Japan, you can get those filters that make you an anime character. Mm-hmm. That's a whole other thing. And so this woman was basically saying, like, she was trying to raise a very particular amount of money. She was like, once I raise this amount of money, I'm going to unveil myself to the world. But in the middle of doing this live stream, talking to another streamer, her filter kicked off and everyone saw what she really looked like. So everyone found out about Cyrano's big nose.
And she ended up being a 58-year-old woman who, again, looked...
Which, there's nothing wrong with being a 58-year-old woman.
But presenting herself as much, 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 much younger and looking a much different way.
Well, You know what? I think what this really does is it holds up a mirror.
Oh, does it?
It shows you how ugly and ageist society is.
Well, they were saying at first she found out when a lot of people started leaving the stream and they were upset, but then it turned out better for her. She ended up gaining, over almost 500,000 followers. People love her now because she's a real person.
They call her Granny.
Yeah, basically.
And this actually has been good for her.
And her donations are way up, so it ended up working out for her, but not for all that end up showing their face.
Amazing. So, again, I've got a real connection with a 58-year-old woman in China. And I think that's why she's doing well. Lots of people that are just like, that's right.
Hey, now she's making all this money, and we streamed yesterday for like an hour and a half. We didn't ask for any donations.
Yeah. Well, it just goes to show you
how
dumb we are.
Worst of the Riot. Radio U.
Nikki, if you could walk into a Target and steal anything, what do you think you'd like to steal?
They have TVs there, don't they?
So you'd
I'd
go
probably
for
go
TV?
for a higher ticket price item or a console or something.
Okay, all right. We got a woman here.
Or a cash register.
Hey,
Maybe I can steal
that. That's actually a
that.
great choice. Though I'll tell you, like cash registers, the till, not very high.
The safe in the back.
Okay.
I take that.
So these days, so much money is just electronic that I'll bet you wouldn't walk away with very much cash.
Yeah, but if you can get the safe, then
even that I'll bet is not.
Oh, it has to have money in it. It doesn't.
Well, listen, okay. It's not Ocean's 11. It's not.
It's Target.
They don't have to have. They've got $1 for every chip that's on the floor.
But it would have money that would be ready to be collected or dropped off or something. Like it'd have to have more money than the cash register. But you're right. Everything's electronic.
I'll just tell you, as somebody that used to be the banking person for a small business, I was not good at it, but I did it. I think you would be disappointed in the amount of cash that's on hand.
Well, it's more than we'd have. So let's look at it as half full and not half empty.
Desiree's 24. She lives in Rochester, and she pled guilty to gross misdemeanor theft on Friday.
What'd she take?
She tried to steal 4 vacuums.
Well, are we talking like Dyson stuff? Because that's expensive.
$1,100 worth of vacuums. So I don't know what she was going to do with them.
I'm trying to think of another vacuum name or something. Is it an Oric?
Hoover.
A Hoover?
An Oric. What else?
The Dyson ones, it's probably not that if it was that little, because those are more expensive.
Well, at $1,100 divided by 4, that's like $275.
Dysons are more than that.
Maybe. Like, don't they have like cheaper models now, like a handheld?
Could be. Could be.
I don't know, but I can tell you this: that she's in trouble. I do like her method, though. She just threw them all in the cart and tried to walk out as if she had paid for them.
Yeah, it's that confident thing where, like, act like you are supposed to be doing this, and will they stop you?
Yeah. So she gets 2 years of supervised probation, and she either has to pay $600 fine or do 60 hours of community service.
Vacuuming.
Ooh.
You have to vacuum the place.
Ma'am, you will be responsible for vacuuming the courthouse for the next...
Why not?
It's perfect.
Send her to a couple of places to help keep it cleaned, and that's her community service.
In this small town, and as she is forced to vacuum around town, she's actually vacuuming the hotel where a high-powered vacuum executive is visiting because of recently a family property that has to be closed up.
And she's changed her life.
She bumps into him, and his business and life is vacuums, and so is hers. So they strike up a conversation about the model that she's using, and it turns out that he had actually designed some of it, and they eventually, obviously, fall in love.
They meet later in the town gazebo. None of that is true. I think if you stop at where we said she got in trouble and she stole that much, that's everything else past then has been false news. So.
I think the idea of her marrying a high-powered vacuum executive.
No, but the family won't agree because she got in trouble for stealing vacuums. But that was the older.
She's just using you to get to the vacuums.
But they really love each other, okay? So the family, in order for him to keep his millions from his vacuum empire.
Perfect.
Oh, I love it.
Coming this fall to Rochester Hallmark.
So what should we name it, though?
Sucks to be you.
That is not the right
Love
target.
Sucks.
Okay, actually, that kind of
That's
wonderful.
Would work.
Wow. All right, well, that's a possible movie. Just throwing that out there.
Suction Junction.
That's where they meet.
That's where they meet.
That's where they meet.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't want to hear any more ideas.
We can work on it.
It's just so great.
In case you're wondering, yes, we do get complaints.
They have gone too far. This time, they are going to be held accountable.
You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
You know, something I feel like we don't value that much in society is honesty. Honesty can be a great thing. You know, it can be, you can dislike it.
It can be painful and hurtful.
It can be. So I had somebody tell me just the other day, they were like, hey, good job on that. And my thought was, are you just trying to encourage me? Like, was this...
But that's a nice thing. You're supposed to be encouraged.
Why?
Why not?
Okay, but if it's not good, don't encourage me, okay?
If it's not real, you mean?
Or at the very least, come up and say, hey, really good try.
It's hard when they're trying to encourage you up to, like, being better. It's like you know what they're doing.
You know, and it's just like, look, this is almost worse than criticizing. You know, if you just told me the truth about how you felt, at least then I would be like, all right, now we're talking. But the fact that you're... But this, where I'm like, are you just trying to make me feel better? Because you're assuming that I feel bad.
But if you take a step back and you hear yourself, you're saying, how dare you...
Be kind to me?
Encourage me.
Yeah.
How dare you?
No. Now, what I'm saying is that if you thought it was good, that's great. But... Did you?
You're wondering if there's a catch.
Like, did you want to borrow something? Like, do I have something that you want? What are you saying when you say that? Now, I say all that to say that's one of the things that I love about having a relationship with God. I can be completely honest with God. And believe me, I'm a real blowhard. So I got a lot of nonsense to spew, okay? So I can go and talk to God, be completely honest.
And he's listening.
And God's listening, and I don't have to encourage him or whatever. And then also, when I'm sitting there talking to God, and I can feel God talking to me, I don't have to be like, are you trying to encourage me right now? Or like, do you mean that? Is it real? Because I can trust that between God and I, there's going to be some honesty. And I like that. And, you know, I guess the flip side is I don't necessarily want the guy at the gas station to be honest with me. Like, how are you this morning? Could you sit down? I really need to talk. It's like, well, I don't really have time for that. You said you wanted honesty. Like, no, just say fine. I got to go. But look, a place where you can be honest and you can find some honesty, a relationship with God. If you don't have one, man, I'm not just saying this because I get paid to do this? No, like I'm telling you that there's something really there. You can have a relationship with God where you can be honest and be yourself. Say, Jesus, I want that. I want you in my life. I want you to fill me with your spirit. I want to have a relationship with you. I want to hear from you honestly, and I want to be my real self with you. And you know what that is, man, isn't that an awesome feeling to just get to be who you really are and God's being who he really is?
You might be thinking that this won't be quite as bad the second time around. Well, you'd be greatly mistaken. You're listening to the worst of the Riot podcast.
Now, last week we discovered that one of the things that is probably going to end up happening to Nikki is that she's going to get old, she's going to get mouthy, and the police are going to have to tase her.
I think there was this viral video of this, I think she was in her 60s, this lady in Oklahoma who got pulled over because someone had rammed into the back of her car. She hasn't fixed it in like 6 months. Mm-hmm. Got pulled over. The cop gave her a ticket for it because she hadn't fixed it in so long. She got mad, didn't want to take the ticket, took off, had a brief chase with the police officer. Then finally she gets tased and was like, you didn't have to tase me. But, I mean, she ran.
That's Nikki's future.
So Obi felt like that's what I'm going to grow into.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is your next one.
What is it?
I'll tell you what it is. Nikki's having some mild neighbor issues these days. And just in case he's listening, we want to give all the details. But the man has chickens.
And you're not allowed to have chickens. Or not supposed to. And you're not allowed to have the chicken house, like the chicken coop.
He's got a chicken coop with chickens.
Uh-huh.
And he keeps staring at Nikki's fence.
No, I sent Obi pictures. Like, he doesn't have the same...
it is like the weirdest thing you've ever seen.
He's always over just like looking and stuff, but he doesn't, I don't feel like he's mean or anything. He just doesn't have the same sense of, what's the word? His personal space and stuff. Mm-hmm. Doesn't have that like everybody else might.
So I see a person here with neighbor problems, and what do, Nikki?
You call and complain about the neighbor.
Call and complain.
Which you might have a valid reason to call and complain about the neighbor. But
see, here's somebody right now that says that... Wait, I'm sorry. So many text messages are coming in. I'm just like... Oh.
Did it distract you?
Okay, yes. Okay. Back to this story.
Yes.
What you've got is a neighbor that noticed that, there seems to be a lot of traffic coming and going from that house. Seems to be a lot.
They're in Manhattan Beach.
And so it turns out that they were illegally, or not illegally, but like against the terms of the housing agreements or whatever. She was doing short-term rentals out of her home, which they're not allowed to do. So
does that mean like an Airbnb, that sort of thing? You're in some areas you're not allowed to, or according to your rental lease or your homeowners association. But she was renting out her place. People noticed, and someone called her on that, so she got fined $4,000.
And then she decided, you know what? You guys don't want me to rent? It's fine. So she painted her house pink and then brought somebody in to paint 2 huge emojis on her house, which is perfectly within, apparently, the...
So one's like the zipper mouth and one's the tongue sticking out sort of emoji. Mm-hmm. And I guess there's no rules against this.
Yeah.
So she hired a street artist to paint her home hot pink, put that on there. One has like googly eyes, and she says they're said to resemble one of her neighbors.
So what's going to happen?
Nothing,
Nikki,
I guess.
You're going to say something about your neighbor.
I know, and this is going to happen.
And you're going to end up with a pink striped house.
That's why I don't want to say anything.
This is where you're headed.
But I will tell you, I'm excited. I'm the only neighbor who can see that my neighbor has chickens, and you're not supposed to. But the other side, the other neighbor, the chickens have been making more noise, and that house has now learned that this neighbor has chickens, because the guy was standing in the back corner of his yard staring at them like, what's going on? Like, he just noticed this. I was so excited to see that. I was like, yes, you call and complain, sir. You do it.
You're living in great space, Nikki.
I'm having a good time with it. We're having fun.
Yeah.
We're having a good time.
I did really like your basement. Eric's got a lot of room to grow down there.
He does, and we don't need to go outside. It's fine.
You don't need to go outside. You put the fence up, you just open the door, kick the dogs out, you're done.
And then just make them come back in when it's time. But now my dog Rolo has also noticed there's chickens next door, and he's just like, what is this? He just stares at them.
Did he come in complaining?
He wants them to stay. He likes looking at them. I don't think he wants us to complain.
It's more fun out there now.
Yeah, he keeps them busy,
Boy, there's some chicks at the neighbor's house. I'm totally digging them.
I can see in his dog way coming back in saying that.
The Riot Radio U.
Have you ever heard of EasyJet?
No.
It's a very, very, very budget airline in Europe. So this one's coming out of London.
Sounds like me.
I usually hear of it coming out of the UK, but I don't think it really equates to, it's not like Southwest. I think it's even more budget.
So think Spirit Airlines.
Which
you don't even know what that is, but it's a thing.
But it's a thing?
Yeah, okay.
Maybe even below that. It's very, very cheap. So EasyJet was in the news in the last day because they had a picture go viral, and not for a good reason.
Of course not.
They were on a flight going to Geneva, and I think it was coming out of London, where they showed a picture of, it looks like the emergency row exit when they only have 2 seats.
Yeah.
And when you're so excited, you get the row behind that, and you get like the one that doesn't have the seat in front of you.
Oh, Nikki, that costs extra.
It does. That's more legroom. But it looks like the row that has the 2 seats, and they're missing the backs of the chairs. They're completely ripped off. So this picture went viral of this lady sitting in her seat like, hey, how can this happen as an airline?
I don't know why this lady is sitting here. But this lady's sitting there, someone snaps a picture of it, and basically starts telling the world, hey, Spirit Airlines has chairs without backs now.
No, EasyJet. Not
EasyJet,
Spirit.
sorry. Whoops,
EasyJet.
my bad.
So
that's how things get started.
But what actually happened is she was sitting there until the flight was all boarded. That was her seat. But she had to move to another seat because, she was missing the back of the chair. There was extra seats on the flight, so they moved her. But customers are concerned, what if the flight would have been, actually full? Where would she have gone to, or would they have made her sit in this chair? Can you legally sit on an airline without a back on your chair?
No.
So the picture went viral. The bigger news that everybody enjoyed making fun of EasyJet for is when this started to go out, the company tweeted back, the person who first sent the picture, said, "Hi, Matthew. Thanks for bringing this to our attention. Before we can investigate this, could I ask you to remove the photograph and then DM us for more information regarding this so we can best assist you?" Everybody just railed over them because they asked for the photo to be removed.
Which, you get it.
But you're not going to get that.
Yeah.
They're not going to do that for you.
The fact that you asked them to take the photo down means that it's going everywhere now.
Yeah, now it's even bigger than it was before. So everybody was on EasyJet for first asking for the photo to try to hide it. And then they said no, she was moved to a different seat. Please stop talking about this. That's what they would kind of like to say.
Could you guys stop, please?
Could you please stop it? But yeah, that was it. In case you saw that, it was big on Twitter yesterday of the lady with the no back to her chair for EasyJet Airlines.
It's so great.
Would it be more comfortable or would it be really weird?
Oh, it'd be awful.
Because the person's right behind you.
No, you think about just not me putting you in a chair
relax.
that you can't sit back in.
Yeah, you can't fly that way. I
That
don't think
sounds
legally they'd let you fly
terrible.
that way.
No. You can't because you've got to have, your seatbelt has to have something to secure you too.
Uh-huh.
So,
Oh, yeah, you're right. But when you look at the picture, you can also just tell that is a very old plane, and it has not been updated.
What are you talking about?
It does not look good.
It's a nice one.
It is a very, very budget airline.
Tried and true, Nikki. That's what we call it. It's tried and true.
I just want to know what happened for them to have to take both the chairs off.
Well, someone was bad.
The worst of the riot is over, but the fun can keep going.
Hey, I saw you checking out my goods.
Check the Riot blog or stalk us on social media
You want to sample them? A little try before you buy, huh?
through riot.radiou.com.
Well, this fills the cake hole